All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our second annual NebPreps Football Awards. Give yourself a round of hands for being here, all finalists and future winners. Congratulations. And thank you all for traveling out so far. Some of you, we've been talking in the crowd. We've had family from Stewart. We've got families from the Panhandle and north, south, every which way direction. Thank you all for being here tonight, especially after the Thanksgiving holiday. Tonight, we are together to celebrate the heart of high school football across this great state of Nebraska. We are celebrating the athletes who left everything on the field, the coaches who built belief and discipline, and the communities that turned Friday nights into something unforgettable. Over this past season, we have witnessed incredible performances, breakout stars, record-breaking moments, and storylines that reminded us why Nebraska football is special. These players didn't just compete, they've inspired us. They played for their towns, their teammates, and deep pride that runs through every program across the state. This evening, we honor excellence. We're honoring resilience, and we honor the young men who helped define this year's football landscape. Whether it was game-winning drives, a season-long grind, or leadership that pushed a team forward, every nominee here tonight earned their place through hard work and heart. So let's get started. We have highlights, surprises, some of the most talented high school football players in Nebraska ready to be recognized. Just for everyone to know, our NebPreps Football Awards were created to honor outstanding athletes across all 7 classes of NSAA football here in this state of Nebraska. Finalists for each class were selected based upon statistical performance, feedback from coaches and area media, as well as input from our Hurrdat Sports and NebPreps team. We're excited to be with you all tonight and to hand out all of our lovely awards for the Special Teams Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, and Player of the Year in each of the 7 classes, as well as the Big Game Chain Overall Player of the Year and our All-Class Coach of the Year. Let's start the awards now in Class D6, beginning with the Special Teams Player of the Year. Let's meet your finalists.
Jason Hanna, Arthur County. Hanna finished the 2025 season with 33 touchbacks, pinning opponents deep on over 2/3 of his kickoffs. The senior averaged nearly 47 yards per kickoff and converted 31 of 45 point-after attempts and added a 33-yard field goal for the Wolves, helping Arthur County earn a postseason bid and finishing with a 6-3 record. Bodie Martin, Sumner Eddyville Miller. Martin was second in the class, averaging 44 yards per kickoff, including 31 touchbacks, and finishing with 36 yards per punt, with 11 punts downed inside his opponent's 20-yard line. Martin also finished 38 of 49 on point-after attempts, helping SEM earn a spot in the Class D6 quarterfinals. Wilsey Lobner, Garden County. The senior was a big play machine for the state champion Eagles, averaging 24 yards per kick return and 28 yards per punt return en route to Garden County's first state title in program history. Lobner had 2 punt return touchdowns on the season and converted 44 point-after attempts to lead Garden County to a 12-0 season.
for the Class D6 Special Teams Player of the Year is Bodie Martin of Sumner Eddyville Miller. You're walking the wrong way. Congratulations, Bodie. I should say as well, winners, if you would like to step up and say a few words, you're more than welcome to as well. Let's move on to your Class D6 Defensive Player of the Year finalists.
Gage Hammond, Southwest. Hammond led Class D6 in total tackles, finishing with 131 stops, including 5 tackles for loss with 4 sacks. The junior had double-digit tackles in 8 of the Rough Riders' 12 games, including 14 tackles in the state title game in Kearney, helping the Rough Riders finish 11-1. Jace Roberson, Garden County. Roberson was second in Class D6 in total tackles, finishing with 121, averaging nearly 11 per contest, and finishing back-to-back seasons with over 100 tackles. The junior added 2 interceptions and 2 fumble recoveries and pushed Garden County to its first state championship with 12 tackles and a pick 6 against Southwest. Drew Schmader, Stewart. The senior was a ball magnet, nabbing 8 interceptions, including a pick 6, with 43 total tackles for one of the top defenses in 6-man this season. Schmaderer had an interception in 7 of the Broncos' 11 contests this season, adding 2 forced fumbles and a fumble recovery, and helped lead Stewart to the semifinals and an 8-2 finish.
And your winner for the Class D6 Defensive Player of the Year, Drew Schmaderer of Stewart.
Thanks, everybody, for coming out. That's all I got to say.
Defensive player mentality. We like that. Let's meet your Offensive Player of the Year finalist for Class D6.
Houston Billiter, Southwest. Billiter was one of the most efficient passers in 6-man football in 2025, leading D6 with 2,105 passing yards and 34 passing touchdowns. The senior quarterback led Southwest to new heights in 2025, pushing the Rough Riders to a runner-up finish for the first time in program history. Taylor Homan, Crawford. Homan wrapped up an impressive career with the Rams, finishing with career bests in passing yards and offensive touchdowns. Homan ended his senior season with 1,792 passing yards with 33 passing touchdowns while totaling 454 rushing yards with 2 scores on the ground. The quarterback included 2 receptions for 2 scores while leading Crawford into the postseason for the first time since 2019. Jackson Tenbensel, Silver Lake. Tenbensel ended his Silver Lake career with new bests in rushing and receiving, leading the Mustangs to a quarterfinal finish. The lead back had 1,008 rushing yards, 19 rushing touchdowns, 33 receptions, and 500 receiving yards with 9 receiving touchdowns. His 29 total touchdowns were 3rd best in Class D6.
And your winner for Offensive Player of the Year in Class D6, Houston Billiter of Southwest.
I just want to thank the Lord for this opportunity. Thank you for everyone who helped put this event on. I want to say thank you to all my teammates that helped it, made possible that I could be here. Thank you to my coaches and Christian Arterburn for believing in me, and my family especially for supporting me throughout everything, and my dad for teaching me how to throw a football.
Thank you. Congratulations. All right, we've wrapped up the 3 positional awards. Let's get to your Player of the Year finalists for six-man football.
Houston Billiter, Southwest. The senior quarterback led six-man football in passing yards and total offensive yards, averaging 175 passing yards per game, while adding 34 passing touchdowns and 15 rushing touchdowns. Billiter did everything for the Rough Riders, totaling 71 tackles with 4 interceptions, while also handling kickoff and punting duties, while leading Southwest to its first state title game in school history. Jordan Scoville, Sumner Eddyville Miller. Scoville improved in every area from his sophomore season for the Mustangs, rushing for over 1,000 yards and 26 rushing touchdowns, while adding 362 receiving yards with 4 scores. The SEM linebacker finished his campaign with 83 tackles, including 11 tackles for loss and a sack, while forcing 2 fumbles and stealing 2 interceptions, leading SEM to a state quarterfinal finish. Alec Watchorn, Layton. The senior athlete led Layton to an 8-2 record and a first-round playoff win, passing for 641 yards with 13 touchdowns. He was dangerous on the ground, averaging nearly 14 yards per carry and rushing for over 1,000 yards with 20 rushing touchdowns and contributing 418 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns. The Warriors senior had 6 pass breakups, 4 interceptions, and totaled 47 tackles.
And your Player of the Year winner in Class D6 is Houston Billiter of Southwest.
Thank you.
All right, so just a reminder, probably didn't say this at first, but if you are a finalist or an award winner, you are welcome to head to the back of the venue, as we do have a photo booth available if you would like to take some photos. We can also do that at the end and conclusion of our award show as well. So congratulations to our Class D6 winners and finalists. Let's move on to Class D2.
CD.
Let's begin with your Special Teams Player of the Year finalists for Class D2.
Gavin Geilenkirchen, Archangels Catholic. The Archangels Catholic Jr. finished the season as one of the most dangerous return men in 8-man football, scoring 2 punt return touchdowns and a kickoff return touchdown while averaging 24 yards per return. The defender's quarterback was also reliable on 2-point conversions, converting 24 in Archangel Catholic's 9-2 season. Nicholas Gonzalez, Mullet. Gonzalez was one of the most reliable kickers in Class D2, knocking down 33 point-after attempts while finishing 4 of 5 with the longest made field goal in the class this season with a 47-yard kick against Brady. Gonzalez also routinely pinned opponents deep after a Mullen score, converting 33 of his kickoffs into touchbacks. Clayton Wagner, Elmwood Murdoch. Wagner added another element for the Knights in 2025, scoring 6 return touchdowns this season and averaging nearly 24 yards per return. Despite only returning 7 punts all year, Wagner returned 2 for touchdowns while housing 4 kickoff returns. The senior had a return touchdown in Elmwood Murdoch's final 7 games, helping lead the Knights to a playoff berth.
And your Class D2 Special Teams Player of the Year is Nicholas Gonzalez of Mullen.
I'd like to thank my coach for always believing in me and my parents for being my biggest supporters. Thank you.
Let's meet your Defensive Player of the Year finalist for Class D2.
Lane Bybee, St. Mary's. Bybee was one of the defensive stalwarts in St. Mary's march to the Class D2 title game, garnering 6.5 sacks on 114 tackles, including 13 tackles for loss. The senior also garnered a pass breakup and forced a fumble with 2 fumble recoveries, helping lead the Cardinals to a 12-1 season. Brady Erickson, Hitchcock County. Erickson was a pass-rushing force for the Falcons in 2025, finishing his senior season with 14 tackles for loss on 64 total tackles and leading Class D2 with 12 sacks. Erickson had 5 games with multiple sacks and recorded at least 1 sack in 7 of Hitchcock County's 11 games this year, helping the Falcons finish with a 10-1 record and a state quarterfinal appearance. Eli Luther, Overton. Luther finished second in Class D2 in total tackles with 133 stops and 2 tackles for loss as a senior, ending his Overton career with 4 straight games of double-digit tackles. Luther also forced 7 turnovers, recovering 2 fumbles while forcing another, and snagged 4 interceptions while leading the Eagles to the second round of the Class D2 playoffs.
And your Defensive Player of the Year finalist and winner for Class D2 is Eli Luther of Overton.
God for giving me the ability and the opportunity to play football. I'd like to thank my parents for pushing me to be the athlete and the person that I am today. And then just thank Coach Harvey and Coach Phelps and all my teammates for just being great this year.
Let's move on to our Offensive Player of the Year finalists in Class D2.
Devin Brummer, why not? The senior quarterback finished his season with career bests in passing yards, completions, and touchdowns, while leading Wynot to its first state championship in school history. Brummer was second in Class D2 with 2,145 passing yards and 38 passing touchdowns, adding 200 yards rushing and 2 rushing touchdowns. Brummer capped his Blue Devil career leading his offense in the highest scoring state title game in Class D2 history, throwing for 400 yards and 7 touchdowns. Gage Hedstrom, St. Mary's. Hedstrom was one of the best weapons in the state this season, leading Class D2 in offensive passing yards, total yards, and touchdowns scored, while leading St. Mary's to a 12-1 season and a runner-up finish. Hedstrom finished with 84 touchdowns contributed this season, totaling 46 in the air and 38 on the ground. Hunter Luther, Howells Dodge. Luther was one of the key cogs to the Jaguars' perfect regular season and #1 overall seed, finishing with 1,864 rushing yards and 29 rushing touchdowns, while pushing Howells Dodge to an 11-1 season. Luther ran for at least 2 touchdowns in 10 straight games and ended his senior campaign with 10 straight games of at least 100 yards rushing.
And the winner for the Class D2 Offensive Player of the Year is Devin Brummer of Wynot. We move on now to our Class D2 Player of the Year. Let us meet our finalists.
Wyatt Frey, Lawrence Nelson. The Northwestern commit made his mark in 8-man football this year, leading Lawrence Nelson to the state quarterfinals and a 9-2 record. Frey finished with 1,146 passing yards and 15 passing touchdowns, while adding nearly 1,600 rushing yards and 27 touchdowns on the ground. The quarterback was also the leader in tackles for the Raiders, finishing with 98 stops and an interception on defense. Gage Hedstrom, St. Mary's. The St. Mary's senior was dynamic in the Cardinals' state runner-up finish, leading the class in total offensive yards, yards per game, and total touchdowns after tossing 46 scores and rushing for 38 more. Hedstrom completed his 4th straight season of over 110 tackles, adding 7 tackles for loss, 6 interceptions, 12 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles en route to St. Mary's 12-1 season. Luke Shoemaker, Central Valley. Shoemaker took another leap in offensive production as a junior for the Cougars, totaling 1,953 rushing yards and 25 rushing touchdowns, and leading Class D2 in rushing yards on the season. Shoemaker added 114 receiving yards and a touchdown while being one of Central Valley's top defenders with 95 total tackles, 6 tackles for loss, and 2 forced fumbles to help pave the way to a semifinal finish for the Cougars.
And your winner for the Class D2 Player of the Year, Gage Hedstrom of St. Mary's.
And I would like to thank my parents, my coaches for always pushing me. Then I know my big boys are back home watching it, so I got to thank the O-line. So.
All right, as we wrap up 8-man, let's move on to our Class D1 award finalists. Beginning with your Special Teams Player of the Year finalists for Class D1.
J.C. Haas, Hemingford. Only a sophomore, Haas made his presence known early in his second season of varsity football. In Week 2, the Hemingford returner had a punt and kick return score, adding 3 more return touchdowns throughout the season, while averaging nearly 37 yards per kick return to lead the Bobcats to a 9-2 season. Brock Genitot, Bloomfield. The do-it-all player for the Bees was incredibly efficient in the punting game, leading Class D1 with 44 yards per punt, while half of his attempts would end inside of his opponent's 20-yard line. The senior was also a temporary kickoff specialist, averaging 41 yards per kickoff, while adding 5 two-point conversion scores in Bloomfield's 7-3 season. Cohen Lingenfelter, Plainview. The junior kicker was one of the best in keeping his opponents deep in their own territory, recording 43 touchbacks and 46 yards per kickoff for the Pirates. Lingenfelter was the highest scoring kicker in the class with 72 points after knocking down 66 point-after attempts and converting 2 field goals while helping guide Plainview to a 10-2 season and a state semifinal appearance.
And your winner for the Class D1 Special Teams Player of the Year is Jace Haas of Hemingford.
I'd just like to thank the community of Hemingford, my parents, my coaches, and thank you and God bless.
Moving on now to your Class D1 Defensive Player of the Year finalists.
Landon Dean, Bridgeport. The junior defensive end was a havoc wreaker in the Panhandle, finishing second in all classes with 14 sacks while adding 63 tackles and 14 tackles for loss. Dean showed up in Bridgeport's biggest games, garnering 3 sacks in a comeback against Hemingford and earning at least 1 sack in every game this season to help the Bulldogs go 9-2 and earn a state quarterfinal appearance. Ethan Latta, Dundee County Stratton, the all-time leader in Nebraska 8-man football in interceptions, left his mark on his senior season with 6 interceptions, finishing his prep career with 32 total interceptions. Despite missing time early in the season, Latta left his impression for DCS, adding 56 total tackles and 2.5 tackles for loss, while leading the Tigers to the number 2 seed and a perfect regular season. Coy Verbka, Shelby Rising City. Verbka was the key cog in the Shelby Rising City's talented defense this season, finishing with a team-high 106 tackles and 20.5 tackles for loss. The senior linebacker added 6 sacks while also garnering 2 interceptions, a pass breakup, and a fumble recovery for the Huskies as Shelby Rising City finished the regular season as the number 1 seed in Class D1.
And your winner for the Class D1 Defensive Player of the Year is Coy Verbka of Shelby Rising City.
Yeah, thank you.
On to our Offensive Player of the Year finalists.
Tyson Jackson, Crofton. The junior running back led 8-man and finished second in the state in rushing, carrying the ball 249 times for 2,468 yards, 189.8 per game, and 9.9 per carry. He surpassed 100 yards in all 13 games and totaled a state-leading 53 rushing touchdowns. Jackson also added 23 two-point conversions, 20 rushing and 3 receiving, to put 318 points on the board for the Warriors. Jackson led Crofton to 10 wins and the Class D1 championship game as the number 5 seed, upsetting top-seeded Shelby Rising City in the semifinals. Brock Genitot, Bloomfield. The senior running back led 8-man and finished second in the state in rushing yards per game at 194. He carried the ball 192 times for 1,552 yards, 8.1 per tote, and scored 18 touchdowns. He also went 4 for 6 passing for 57 yards and another score, while adding 5 two-point conversions on the ground. Genitot led the Bees to 7 wins and the Class D1 quarterfinals. Cameron Seeley, Sandy Creek. The sophomore quarterback threw for an 8-man leading 2,439 yards overall and 187.6 per game, plus 36 touchdowns, while completing 71.1% of his passes. He also ran the ball 174 times for 1,781 yards, 137 per game and 10.2 per carry, and 38 more touchdowns. As a defensive back, he racked up 68 tackles, including 2 for loss, 4 passes defense, 2 interceptions, and 1 fumble recovery. He also served as the team's kicker with 21 touchbacks and punter with 3 kicks downed inside the 20. Seeley led the Cougars to 12 wins, the number 3 seed in the Class D1 playoffs, and the school's second consecutive championship.
And your winner for the Class D1 Offensive Player of the Year is Tyson Jackson of Crofton.
I want to say thank you for Nebraska Preps for putting this on. It's really helpful for all of us. I want to thank my parents for always being there for me, my coaching staff for always pushing me to be better, and my teammates. Thanks for a great season. Thank you.
All right, our final award for 8-man football in Class D1, our Player of the Year finalists.
Tyson Jackson, Crofton. The junior surpassed 2,500 yards on offense while finishing second in the state in rushing yards and first in rushing touchdowns. On defense, Jackson led the Warriors in tackles with 112, including 12 for loss and 2 sacks, plus 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and 1 pass defense. He showed his big playability with a pair of 65-yard touchdown runs and 171 total rushing yards in the title game as Crofton finished as state runner-up. Cameron Seeley, Sandy Creek. After Ethan Shaw led Sandy Creek to its first state title in 2024, Seeley stepped in as a sophomore and led the Cougars back to the final while leading the state in total offense with 4,220 yards. He scored 78 total touchdowns while also playing a key role on defense and special teams. In the championship, he went off for 272 yards and 4 touchdowns on 17 for 24 passing, plus 203 yards and 5 more touchdowns on 23 carries as the Cougars won 66-26 to go back-to-back in D1. Coy Verbka, Shelby Rising City. The senior led the #1 seed in Class D1 on both sides of the ball. At linebacker, he finished in the top 5 in the class in tackles for loss with 20.5, totaling 106 tackles overall, 6 sacks, 2 interceptions, 1 pass defensed, 1 fumble recovery returned 19 yards for a touchdown, and 1 blocked field goal. On offense, he anchored the line, paving the way for a unit that averaged 274.6 rushing yards per game and 7.4 per carry with 57 rushing touchdowns. Verbka led the Huskies to 11 wins and a state semifinal appearance.
And your Player of the Year in Class D1 is Cam Seeley of Sandy Creek. Okay, as we wrap up the 8- and 6-man awards, again, just want to thank you all for being out here. We know how far a lot of you had to travel. We have plenty more awards to give out. Just another reminder as well that if you are a finalist or would just like to take some photos, we will have an intermission just of 5 minutes here after we wrap up Class C2. And everyone is welcome to go to the back. You can take some photos there. And then when we conclude our event as well, you're more than welcome to take some photos at the back of the venue as well. With that, let's move on to Class C2 and meet all of our future finalists.
Ball carried by number 11, Jack Alberts.
I don't know if I've ever recovered from that win from that game. If you were there, you understand. But yeah, brutal and cold. But what's helping us keep on moving forward here is our special teams Player of the Year finalists for Class C2.
Madden Breivik Wood River. The senior was one of the best punters in the class and was also dangerous as a return man on limited opportunities. He averaged 40.6 yards per punt with a long of 66 and 10 of his 21 kicks downed inside the 20. He also returned 5 punts for 126 yards, averaging 25.2 per return with a touchdown. Also serving as a dual-threat quarterback with over 2,100 yards on offense, Breivik led Wood River to 7 wins and a playoff appearance. Nolan Duzick, Malcolm. The junior did nearly everything but punt for the Clippers on special teams. He returned 2 of the 6 kickoffs that went his way for touchdowns, averaging 38.8 yards per return. He also averaged 16.5 yards with a touchdown on 13 punt returns. Duzick booted 5 touchbacks on kickoffs, went 3 for 5 on field goals with a long of 42, and converted 32 of his 33 point-after kicks. He also served as the team's long snapper on punts and played receiver on offense, leading Malcolm to 8 wins and a state quarterfinal appearance. Jack Poppy, Donovan Trumbull. The senior receiver was a dynamic threat on special teams, taking 2 of the 5 kickoff return opportunities he had to the house for a 48.4 yards per return average. He also averaged 11.3 yards on 8 punt returns, kicked 3 extra points, and handled some kickoff duties for the Cardinals, who won 8 games and qualified for the Class C2 playoffs.
And your winner for the Class C2 Special Teams Player of the Year is Nolan Duzick of Malcolm.
Good returns without good blocking, and my teammates were there every single play for me. I'm so thankful for this award, and thanks for Nebraska Preps for putting it on.
All right, let's move on now to your Class C2 Defensive Player of the Year finalists.
Jackson Gangwish, Grand Island Central Catholic. The sophomore linebacker was second in Class C2 in tackles with 141, including 89 solo and 21.5 for loss with 2 sacks and a fumble recovery. He also scored 6 touchdowns on offense while helping the Crusaders win 11 games, earning the number 4 seed in the playoffs and finishing as the Class C2 runner-up. Zane Slack, Kearney Catholic. The senior linebacker stuffed the stat sheet, racking up 94 tackles, including 78 solo and 23 for loss, 8 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, including 1 returned for a touchdown, 3 passes defensed, and 2 interceptions, including 1 returned for a score. He also helped the Stars' defense in the field position game by putting 15 punts inside the 20. Slack led Kearney Catholic to 11 wins, the number 3 seed in the C2 playoffs, and a semifinal appearance. Jack Van Slyke, Bishop Newman. The senior linebacker led the class in tackles with 152 and 11.7 per game, including 11 for loss and 1 sack. He added 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and an interception while rushing for over 1,000 yards on offense and averaging 38 yards per punt, with 11 of his 27 punts downed inside the 20. He led the Cavaliers to 12 wins, the number 2 seed in the Class C2 playoffs, and a state championship, posting a game-high 13 tackles, including 1 for loss and a forced fumble in the final.
And your Class C2 Defensive Player of the Year winner is Jack Van Slyke of Bishop Newman. All right, now moving on to your Offensive Player of the Year finalists in Class C2.
Caleb Fenner, UTAN. The sophomore running back tied for the class lead with 1,490 yards on 148 carries, averaging 135.5 yards per game with 10.1 yards per carry, while scoring 17 touchdowns. He also scored on a 75-yard kickoff return while leading UTAN to 8 wins and a state quarterfinals appearance. Jack Poppy, Doniphan Trumbull. The senior wide receiver capped a prolific career with 94 receptions, tops in the state, for 1,193 yards, third in the state, and 16 touchdowns, tied for the 11-man lead, averaging 119.3 yards per game. He also put points on the board on special teams with 3 extra points and 2 return touchdowns, and on defense with a fumble returned for a touchdown. He broke the C2 record for career receptions with 228, along with numerous school records, while leading the Cardinals to 8 wins and a playoff appearance. Austin Schuler, Archbishop Bergen. The senior quarterback led Class C2 in passing with 2,410 yards, 241 per game, 11 per attempt, and 28 touchdowns, while completing 65.9% of his passes. And he finished second in school history in career passing yards and passing touchdowns, while leading the Knights to 9 wins and a state quarterfinal appearance as a senior.
And your winner for the Offensive Player of the Year in Class C2, Jack Poppy of Doniphan Trumbull.
I just want to thank all my coaches, teammates, and supporters. Thank you.
All right, wrapping up Class C2, here are your finalists for the Player of the Year.
Grayson Sack, Grand Island Central Catholic. The senior quarterback finished second in the class in total offense with 2,764 yards and 31 touchdowns. He threw for 1,832 yards and 17 touchdowns, while running the ball 117 times for 877 yards, 7.5 per carry, and 14 more scores. He broke the school records for career passing yards and touchdowns as a senior. On defense, Slack recorded 28 tackles, including 4 for loss, 2 sacks, 9 passes defensed, and 1 interception. He also served as the team's punter while leading the Crusaders to 11 wins, the number 4 seed in the Class C2 playoffs, and a state runner-up finish. Jack Van Slyke, Bishop Newman. The do-it-all athlete led the Cavaliers with 189 carries for 1,265 yards and 20 touchdowns, averaging 97.3 yards per game and 6.7 per carry. On defense, he led Class C2 with 152 tackles, 11.7 per game, including 11 for loss, 1 sack, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and an interception. On special teams, he averaged 38 yards per punt, with 11 of his 27 punts downed inside the 20, and he also booted 3 touchbacks on kickoffs. Van Slyke led Bishop Newman to 12 wins, the number 2 seed in the Class C2 playoffs, and a state championship. Jordan Williams, Ord. The junior quarterback tied for the class lead in rushing yards, carrying the ball 211 times for 1,490 yards, 124.2 per game and 7.1 per carry, and 19 touchdowns. He added 1,282 yards and 18 touchdowns in the passing game for a class-leading 2,772 yards on offense and 37 touchdowns. On defense, he totaled 57 tackles, including 3 for loss, 5 interceptions, and 3 forced fumbles. After an 0-3 start to the season, Williams led the Chanticleers to 8 straight wins and a Class C2 state semifinals appearance.
Our winner for the Class C2 Player of the Year is Jordan Williams of Ord.
First off, I want to give all the glory to God, and I want to thank everybody who put this on, and coaches and teammates, and I want to congratulate all you guys for making it out here. Thank you.
As we've wrapped up our first 4 classes of award finalists and winners, we will take about a 5-minute break just to reset our stage and get ready for our final 3 classes in C1, B, and A. A reminder that if you won an award, or a finalist, or your family is here, we would like to invite you out to the back of our venue to take some photos as well. There will be some other interviews and such going on back there at that time, so just be respectful of the time and space. But we'll take this quick 5-minute intermission and be back at it here in just a few moments. Thank you. All right, I'll give everyone a moment just to get back to their seats. You're still taking photos in the back. We also will have the photo booth and venue still open at the conclusion of our award show, and you are welcome to go back during the other class awards as well. We'll give you a quick minute just to be able to get back here. All right, if we can have everyone return to their seats as we get ready for our next class of awards. This will be for Class C1.
Kaminsky's pass complete to number 5, Eli Shada. Touchdown, Warriors! Nody's pass intercepted by number 2, Landon 5.
Let's start with our Class C1 Special Teams Player of the Year finalists.
Nolan Asher, Douglas County West. The senior was one of the best punters in Class C1, averaging 39.7 yards per boot with a long of 67 and 6 placed inside the 20. The Colorado School of Mines commit also kicked a couple extra points and recorded 3 touchbacks on kickoffs while contributing heavily at tight end and linebacker. Blaze Beller, Mount Michael Benedictine. The junior tied for the class lead in field goals, going 4 for 5 with a long of 36. He also went 33 for 34 on extra points and recorded 8 touchbacks on kickoffs. He helped the Knights win 8 games and reach the Class C1 state quarterfinals. Brady Quinlivan, Mount Michael Benedictine. The senior was one of the most dynamic returners in the state, scoring 4 touchdowns and racking up 788 yards on special teams. He returned 19 kickoffs for an average of 28.6 and 2 scores, while adding 8 punt returns for a 29.3 average and 2 more touchdowns. Quinlivan led Mount Michael to 8 wins and a quarterfinal appearance in the Class C1 playoffs.
And your winner for the Class C1 Special Teams Player of the Year is Brady Quinlivan of Mount Michael Benedictine. Congratulations, Brady. Let's move on to your Class C1 Defensive Player of the Year finalists.
Kean Kaiser, Sydney. The senior linebacker racked up 111 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 2 interceptions, and a fumble recovery while patrolling the middle for the Red Raiders. The Iowa State commit was also a significant contributor on offense as he led Sydney to 12 wins, the number 3 seed in the Class C1 playoffs, and a state runner-up finish. He posted a team-high 9 tackles, including 3 for loss, in the championship. Harrison Krieger, Wahoo. The senior linebacker finished second in 11-man in total tackles with 136, averaging 10.5 per game with 9 for loss, 1 sack, 2 interceptions, and 1 fumble forced and recovered. The Augustana commit led a dominant Wahoo defense as the Warriors allowed 9.3 points per game and pitched 5 shutouts en route to a 13-0 record and a Class C1 state championship. He made 10 tackles, including 1.5 for loss, in the final. Grady Welke, O'Neill. The senior linebacker led Class C1 in sacks with 11 while racking up 97 tackles in all, including 29 for loss and forcing 3 fumbles. He also scored 6 touchdowns on offense, leading the Eagles to 8 wins and a playoff appearance.
And your winner for the Class C1 Defensive Player of the Year is Kean Kaiser of Sydney.
I just want to thank Hurrdat and NebPreps for hosting us, and I want to thank my coaches, family, friends, teammates. It wouldn't be possible without those guys. Thank you.
This is our second annual awards. That's the first time someone with 4 wheels has won, so that's pretty impressive. All right, on to our Class C1 Offensive Player of the Year finalists.
Kip Brigham, Wahoo. During his senior season, the running back broke numerous records, including the 11-man record for touchdowns in a season with 54, and the C1 records for career points with 614, career touchdowns with 106, career rushing touchdowns with 90, and consecutive 100-plus yard rushing games with 20. The UNK commit led the Warriors to a 13-0 record, the number 1 seed in the Class C1 playoffs, and the state championship for the 2nd straight year. Will Jansen, Syracuse. The senior running back finished second in Class C1 in rushing, carrying the ball 182 times for 1,974 yards, while averaging 179.5 yards per game and 10.9 yards per carry. He also caught 8 passes for 160 yards and another score, and scored 3 two-point conversions. Jansen led Syracuse to 10 wins, the number 5 seed in the Class C1 playoffs, and a quarterfinal appearance. Derek Tonjes, Ashland Green. The senior quarterback averaged 246.3 yards per game passing and 12.2 yards per attempt, operating a big play offense while completing 70% of his passes. He produced 42 touchdowns, 38 through the air, and 4 more on the ground. Ashland Greenwood went 10-2 with both losses to undefeated state champion Wahoo.
Class C1 Offensive Player of the Year winner is Kip Brigham of Wahoo.
While it is an individual award, in my eyes, it's a team award.
And moving on now to our final award in Class C1, the Player of the Year finalists.
Kip Brigham, Wahoo. The senior running back led 11-man in rushing, carrying the ball 216 times for 2,657 yards, 204.4 per game and 12.3 per carry, and 47 touchdowns. He caught 23 passes for 329 yards and 5 more touchdowns, and recorded 14 returns for 441 yards and 2 touchdowns, totaling 3,427 all-purpose yards. He averaged 33.3 yards on 9 punt returns, scoring twice. Defensively, the UNK commit totaled 36 tackles, including 4 for loss with an interception. He led Wahoo to a second consecutive 13-0 record and a Class C1 state championship, scoring twice and picking off a pass in the final. Reese Dorsey, Sydney. The junior running back ran the ball 225 times for 1,433 yards, 110.2 yards per game, 6.4 yards per carry, and 26 touchdowns while catching 6 passes for 107 yards and 2 more scores. On defense, he added 43 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and 2 interceptions while also contributing in the return game. Dorsey led Sydney to 12 wins, the number 3 seed in the Class C1 playoffs, and a state runner-up finish. He led Sydney's only touchdown drive in the championship while stepping in as a Wildcat quarterback for injured starter Alex Doty. Derek Tonjes, Ashland Green. The senior quarterback led Class C1 in passing by a significant margin, throwing for 2,956 yards and 38 touchdowns with a 70% completion rate. He added 55 carries for 296 yards and 4 touchdowns in the ground game, averaging 5.3 yards per run. Tonjes led the Blue Jays to 10 wins, the number 4 seed in the Class C1 playoffs, and a state semifinal appearance.
Class C1 Player of the Year winner is the Wahoo man himself, Kip Brigham. All right, moving on from Class C1 into Class B. Let's meet your Class B Special Teams Player of the Year finalists.
Evan Greenfield, Norris. The junior went 5 for 7 on field goals with a long of 47 plus a perfect 60 for 60 on extra points. He added a 56.5-yard average on kickoffs with 43 touchbacks on 67 attempts. As a punter, he led Class B with 41.9 yards per boot, placing 6 of his 16 punts inside the 20-yard line. The junior led the Titans to 8 wins and the number 6 seed in the Class B playoffs while also serving as the team's quarterback. Zach Keenan, Elkhorn North. The freshman led Class B in field goals, going 10 for 11 with a long of 38, plus 39 for 43 on extra points. He also averaged 58 yards per kickoff with 51 touchbacks on 67 attempts. Keenan helped Elkhorn North win 8 games and make the Class B quarterfinals in his first season of high school football. Ethan Nelson, Platteview. The senior went 5 for 6 on field goals with a long of 52 and an overtime game winner against Crete. He also converted all 20 of his extra point attempts, booted 15 touchbacks, and landed 6 punts inside the 20.
And your Class B Special Teams Player of the Year is Evan Greenfield of Norris. Moving on now to your Class B Defensive Player of the Year finalists.
Gavin McMillan, Waverly. The junior totaled 73 tackles, 6 interceptions, tied for the most in Class B, 5 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. The junior helped lead the Vikings to a 13-0 record, the #1 seed in the Class B playoffs, and a state title, recording 5 tackles, 3 solo, and a pass breakup in the final. Jace Reynolds, Elkhorn North. The senior was part of one of the best linebacking corps in the state, regardless of class. He finished the season with 54 tackles, including 8 for loss, 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, both returned for a touchdown, a pass breakup, and a forced fumble. The Nebraska commit led the Wolves to 8 wins, the #4 seed in the Class B playoffs, and a quarterfinals appearance. Cade Thompson, Gretna East. The senior linebacker led Class B in tackles per game at 11.3, totaling 123 stops in just 11 games. That includes 9 tackles for loss and 2 sacks with 3 fumble recoveries, 2 interceptions, including 1 returned 89 yards for a touchdown, and 2 passes defensed. He helped Gretna East earn 11 wins, the #2 seed in the Class B playoffs, and a state runner-up finish in the program's 3rd season of varsity football.
And your winner for the Class B Defensive Player of the Year is Gavin McMillan of Waverly.
I just want to thank my teammates, my coaches, my family for all the support. I also want to thank Hurrdat for putting this on. Thank you.
Moving on now into your Class B Offensive Player of the Year finalists.
Ty Buafakeo, Bennington. The junior quarterback finished 2nd in Class B in passing yards, totaling 2,439 on the season and averaging 203.2 per game with 30 touchdowns and a 62.4 completion rate. He added 911 yards on the ground, averaging 5.7 per carry, and scoring another 12 touchdowns. Buafakeo led the Badgers to 9 wins and the state semifinals. Nate Kelly, Scotts Bluff. The senior quarterback led the Bearcats in rushing with 1,234 yards, 137.1 per game and 8.5 per carry, and 22 touchdowns while running an option attack. He added 727 yards and 6 touchdowns through the air while playing a key role on the defense as well. The UNK basketball commit led Scotts Bluff to 8 wins and the #3 seed in the Class B playoffs, though an injury prevented him from playing in the postseason. Michael Knutson, Gretna. The senior quarterback's 3,992 yards of total offense set a new Class B record, besting Jack Dotzler's 2019 record of 3,971. He also set several Class B records, including passing yards in a season with 2,690, passing yards in a playoff game with 504, and total offense in a playoff run with 1,275. The Northwest Missouri State commit totaled 376 yards of offense and 5 touchdowns in Gretna's first-round upset of Norris, including a 40-yard Hail Mary on the final play of regulation, plus a game-winning 2-point conversion.
And your winner for the Class B Offensive Player of the Year is Michael Knudsen of Gretna.
I just want to thank Hurrdat Sports for putting this on, and I want to thank my family, God, my teammates, and my coaches for letting me have this great season, and thank you.
Moving on into our final award for Class B, it is our Player of the Year finalists.
Nathan Axman, Waverly. The senior running back finished second in Class B in rushing, carrying the ball 339 times for 2,013 yards, 154.8 per game and 5.9 per carry, and 28 touchdowns. He added 19 receptions for 320 yards, 16.8 per catch, and 2 more scores while adding 8 punt returns for 112 yards. Axman racked up 2,445 all-purpose yards while leading the Vikings to a 13-0 record, the #1 seed in the Class B playoffs, and the state championship. He ran the ball 41 times for 277 yards and 3 scores in the final. Michael Knudsen, Gretna. The senior threw for 3,690 yards, 307.5 per game, and 34 touchdowns while completing 65.7% of his passes. He added 302 yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground, averaging 5.3 yards per carry. The Northwest Missouri State commit led the Dragons to 7 wins and a trip to the state semifinals as a number 11 seed. Connor Sams, Gretna East. The senior running back led Class B in rushing, carrying the ball 228 times for 2,083 yards, 173.6 per game and 9.1 per carry, and 25 touchdowns, while catching 7 passes for another 73 yards and a score. The Air Force commit led the Griffins to 11 wins and a state runner-up finish in the school's 3rd year of existence.
And your winner for the Class B Player of the Year is Nathan Axman of Waverly.
First off, I want to thank my mom and dad for believing me every step of the way. And then also to my coaches, Coach Manstead, and also my teammates. And last but not least, I want to thank my receivers and O-line for battling through the trenches and blocking for me and making me look good. Thank you.
Congratulations to all of our award finalists and recipients so far. We will move on to Class A here in a moment. But first, I'd like to thank our great team, not only here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, but also across NebPreps and through Hurrdat Sports. You see them all here tonight, whether they're wearing polos like our great producer Rico is, or if they're in the back waxing his head with Mike Sauter, or if they're behind the scenes making sure that all the stats and everything that we put up on screen tonight is correct, and Jacob Padilla. So many people go into all the great content that is produced from our videographers, such as Brandon Tiedemann or Christian, as well as our sports director, Sasha Durkin, making sure that we are keeping everything on the rails as we do tonight. If you could give them a big round of applause for all the work that they do to provide coverage for high school sports. I'm sure I missed a couple of names in there. I'm just going to rattle some off. Let's see. We got Christian. We said, let's get David, Dawson, a lot of other names in there. John is here tonight. Plenty of names. I think I got everybody. I think. So someone's going to get mad at me in the back. With that, we will now move on to our final class in Class A.
CD.
Let's begin Class A with our Special Teams Player of the Year finalists.
Dave Fajardo, Millard South. The senior kicker came up 2 points shy of the single-season all-class record for points kicked with 116. He made his first 99 extra points before missing in extreme wins in the state championship, finishing 101 for 103 while going 5 for 6 on field goals. He averaged 53.3 yards per kickoff with 67 touchbacks on 119 kickoffs. Darian Jones, Omaha North. The senior racked up 478 return yards and 3 touchdowns on 18 returns. The Iowa commit averaged 25.3 yards and scored twice on 11 punt returns and averaged 27.7 yards on 7 kickoff returns with another touchdown. He scored in all 3 phases of the game for the 8-win Vikings. Jackson Mawson, Elkhorn South. The sophomore led the state in field goals, going 12 for 13 with a long of 47. He went 40 for 41 on extra points and averaged 54.6 yards per kickoff with 16 touchbacks as the Storm won 8 games and made it to the state quarterfinals.
Your winner for the Class A Special Teams Player of the Year is Darian Jones of Omaha North.
I like to thank God and my coaches and all my people that have supported me my whole career, and I really appreciate it. And thank you for Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Really good food tonight. I mean, I can't complain at all. Wings are fire.
Moving on now to your Defensive Player of the Year finalists in Class A.
Darian Jones, Omaha North. The senior cornerback recorded 25 tackles, including 3 for loss, 1 sack, 6 passes defense, 3 interceptions, including 2 returned for touchdowns, and a forced fumble. The Iowa commit was a threat to score every time he got his hands on the ball, and teams game planned to avoid him as much as possible. Tegan Urban, Millard South. The senior linebacker racked up 113 tackles, 9.4 per game, including an astonishing 43 for loss, 11.5 sacks, 7 passes defensed, 3 fumble recoveries, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble. The Patriots allowed 3.7 points per game this season and pitched a shutout in half their contests, including in the state championship. He had 5 tackles, 1.5 for loss, and an interception in the final. Bryson Williams, Omaha Westside. The senior defensive back finished the season with 71 tackles, including 56 solo and 6 for loss, 6 interceptions, and 4 more passes defensed. The Iowa State commit helped lead the Warriors to 11 wins, the top seed in the playoffs, and a semifinal appearance.
Your winner for the Class A Defensive Player of the Year, Tegan Urban of Millard South.
Recognizing me for this reward, Hurrdat Sports for hosting this event, and more importantly, thank my coaches for developing me throughout my high school career, and my family and teammates for all their support.
And now your finalists for the Class A Offensive Player of the Year.
Tay Jenkins, Omaha Westside. The junior running back carried the ball 214 times for a Class A leading 1,866 yards, 155.5 yards per game and 8.7 yards per carry, and 28 touchdowns, while catching the ball 17 times for 329 yards, 19.4 per reception, and 3 more scores. He was a weapon in the return game as well, with 2 touchdowns on kickoff returns, leading the Warriors to 11 wins, the #1 seed, and a state semifinal appearance. Jaden Sutko, Elkhorn South. The senior running back ran the ball 204 times for 1,568 yards, 142.5 yards per game, and 7.7 yards per carry, and 20 touchdowns, while catching 12 passes for 121 yards and 2 more scores. The Fresno State commit also contributed on defense as the Storm won 8 games and made it to the state quarterfinals. Jet Tamala, Millard South. The Alabama commit broke several Nebraska State records during his senior season, including career passing yards, 10,253, and passing touchdowns, 134. He tied the Class A single-game record for passing touchdowns with 7 in each of his last 2 games as a Patriot, breaking the 11-man record for passing touchdowns, 19, and passing yards, 1,354, in a playoff run.
The Class A Offensive Player of the Year, Millard South, Jet Tamala.
First off, I'd like to thank God for giving me the ability to play the sport I love. Next, I'd like to thank my parents and my family for all the support this season and the seasons prior. Next, I'd like to thank my coaches, all the hard work and efforts they put into the season to be so special. And next, I'd like to thank my teammates. Receivers did a great job this year, and O-line always does great. So thank you to NebPreps and Hurrdat Sports for putting this great show on, and congrats to everyone else here.
It's a little unnecessary to make me look short, Jet. That's fine. All right, let's meet your finalists for the Class A Player of the Year.
Darian Jones, Omaha North. On defense, the senior cornerback recorded 25 tackles, including 3 for loss, 1 sack, 6 passes defensed, 3 interceptions, including 2 returned for touchdowns, and a forced fumble. On offense, he caught 25 passes for 390 yards and 5 touchdowns. On special teams, he returned 11 punts for a 25.3 average and 2 touchdowns, while adding 7 kickoff returns for a 27.7 average and another score. The Iowa commit led the Vikings to 6 wins and a playoff berth. Jet Tamala, Millard South. The record-setting quarterback threw for 3,484 yards, 290.3 per game, and 58 touchdowns while completing 72.6% of his passes and adding 3 touchdowns on the ground as a senior. The Alabama commit led the Patriots to an undefeated record against Nebraska competition the past 2 years as Millard South won back-to-back Class A state championships. Angelo Walker, Creighton Prep. On offense, the senior running back carried the ball 278 times for 1,546 yards, 128.8 yards per game, and 5.6 yards per carry, and 25 touchdowns while adding 14 receptions for 118 yards. On defense, he racked up 50 tackles, including 7.5 for loss, 4 passes defensed, 1 sack, and 1 forced fumble. He also served as Preps punter as the Junior Jays won 10 games and reached the state semifinals.
Your Class A Player of the Year winner is Jet Tamala of Millard South.
Thanks again, Hurrdat Sports and NebPreps. Thanks to my teammates, and roll Tide.
Two awards remain before we wrap up our NebPreps second annual Football Awards. Give all of yourselves a round of applause for being out here. Congratulations to all of our finalists and all the great people who traveled out here, whether you're from Silver Lake, Stewart, or Millard South. Everyone's out here, and we appreciate all of you for making the trip and travel. Now, you may be wondering, what is this? It is the best prize you could possibly win on the field of battle in the game of football. It is the Hurrdat Sports and Borsheim's Big Game Chain Player of the game. It goes to the best player that steps up in the biggest games, the biggest moments, and makes the impact plays for their team to get a win. We've had plenty of great moments, and we've also had plenty of great opportunities and great athletes to wear the chain.
Nathan Axman, Waverly. Axman began his legendary playoff run with a 42-carry performance in a 30-24 overtime win over Seward in the Class B quarterfinals. Axman finished with 229 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns, including the game winner in overtime, to push the Vikings into the semifinal round. Jaron Cannon, Omaha North. Cannon led Omaha North to a rivalry win at Omaha Central, averaging 17 yards per carry on 18 touches, finishing with 312 rushing yards, with 4 touchdowns for the Vikings in a 51-20 win over the Eagles. Cannon had rushing touchdowns of 41, 85, and 44 yards in the win. Jaden Sutko, Elkhorn South. Sutko was a workhorse in the Storm's 24-17 comeback win against Bellevue West in Week 2, powering for 39 carries and 304 rushing yards with 3 touchdowns. The running back had 2 fourth-quarter rushing touchdowns to tie, then take the lead, and had the winning pass breakup on the final Hail Mary attempt to seal the victory for Elkhorn South.
And our winner for the 2025 NebPreps Football Big Game Chain Player of the Year is Jaron Cannon of Omaha North. Now Jaron just made me look silly wearing this. How dare he? All right, to wrap up our final award of the evening, I would like to invite on Hurrdat Sports and NebPreps reporter and all-star coverage expert, Jacob Padilla.
For our final award, we opened the voting to the public, with fans from across the state nominating deserving coaches. We received nearly 500 submissions, with one name emerging from the group. Here are a few comments voters submitted to describe our winner. He is by far the best coach, hands down. All the kids look up to him. He motivates and cares, and the boys admire him. True meaning of coach. He cares about all the kids, and it shows. All the boys talked about how encouraging he was on and off the field. He supported them any way he could. He coached a team that was inspired by him to give it their all. He earned the respect of the players. He developed players and guided them in becoming better players. He is well loved by his players, parents, and the community. He deserves this recognition. This year's NEB Coach of the Year is Reed Manstead of Waverly. Coach Manstead led the Vikings to a 13-0 record, defeating 11 playoff teams along the way to the program's first state title since 1980.
All right. Well, I'm the only adult who's gotten one of these tonight, so I feel like I'm kind of obligated to give a speech here a little bit. But first and foremost, I want to definitely thank my wife. We got 2 kids at home, both under the age of 5, and she raises them this time of year. So a lot to her, and then also to all those other coaches' wives out there as well. Want to say thank you to Mr. McMillan. 7 years ago, he took a chance when he hired me. I had not won a lot as a football coach when he first hired me in my first 4 years as a head coach. And so for him to take a chance on me, forever thankful for that. And obviously wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. Next to my assistant coaches, thank you so much for those guys. You know, somebody once told me that if you surround yourself by a bunch of smart people, they make you look a lot smarter than you actually are. And that is so true. I have such great assistants, and they do such a good job for me. And obviously I wouldn't be up here if it wasn't for them. And then last but not least, the players. Thank you so much to the players. You know, I hearing those comments that they had said with the nominations, means the world to me. And that's why you did it, is to get into this, to hopefully make a difference in young men's lives. And to hear that, definitely reassuring. But wouldn't be up here if it wasn't for our kids, because at the end of the day, they're the ones out there doing it. And so I'm so thankful for our boys, so thankful for our team and our community. So thank you so much. And with that being said, go Vikes.
That does conclude our 2025 and second annual NebPreps Football Awards. Thank you all again for making the long trips and travels out here. Please drive home safely, and good luck in all of your future endeavors, and we'll see you for next football season.